Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we have Game 3 of the Marvel Champions Mini-Series. So pull up a chair and let's continue. Alright, well when we left off with Game 2, if you remember, I lost that game to Rhino with a Doomsday Chair modular set, and she finished with 1 hit point, which means I will go in to Game 3 with 3 hit points actually, because the upgrade she got was this basic thwart upgrade that gives +2. So she gets +2, so she'll have 3 hit points going into the next game. And also the villain is going to start with Goblin Glider and Charge. And so the two of these together is going to give the villain, whichever villain I fight, a +4 attack on the very first turn. So that means there is a way I can heal to full health if I want to, and that is by putting, because I'm playing in the expert mode, I can put in an obligation that goes in a player deck, and let's look at what those are, and they're pretty nasty. I'm not sure I want to do it, because I'm going to be playing Black Widow Justice this game, and I'm going to be putting some cards in her deck that will allow her to stay in Alter Ego a turn or two, so that hopefully I can heal up to close to full health if I want. But anyway, this one, as you can see, martial law, reduce the hand size by 1, and then to get rid of it, you have to be in Alter Ego, and by the way, you have to be in Alter Ego in all of them to get rid of the obligations that you put in your deck. But it's deal yourself an encounter card and spend an energy resource, discard this card. And then medical emergency, if that one gets in there, you at the end of your turn take 1 damage if you're in hero form. And as you can see in Alter Ego action, discard the top 5 cards of your deck and spend a physical resource to get rid of that. And then Zola's algorithm gives you a acceleration token for the scheme, and exhaust your Alter Ego and spend a mental resource, discard this card. And then anti-hero propaganda, you get -1 to all of your stats, take 2 damage and spend a wild resource. So if you don't put a lot of wild resources in your deck, it's going to be hard to get rid of that one. So they're pretty nasty. But like I said, if I don't use one of those, I'll start this next game with just 3 hit points. And I actually may do that, because as I said, I'll be using Justice, hopefully getting some cards that will allow her to heal, that can allow her to stay in Alter Ego and heal up for a couple of turns. But we'll see what I'm going to do. But that is the situation going forward. And so we need to pick our villain for the Game 3. And as you can see from the scenario list, it's going to be either Claw, Mutagen Formula, or Zola. Okay, and here they are. And as I did with the first 2 games, Claw will be 1 or 2. Green Goblin will be 3, 4. Zola will be 5, 6. I got my die here. We'll roll the die, and it's going to be a 4. So the middle number, again, I think I've rolled a 4 every time. I'm not sure, but I think I have. But 1, 2, 3, 4. So she'll be fighting against Green Goblin Mutagen Formula. All right, and we have to randomly select a modular set. Now, we've already used Goblin Gimmicks and Doomsday Chair. If they come up again, though, that's what I'm going to use. So you can see them there. Here are the dice, a 10-sided and a 6-sided. We'll roll those up. And we have 7 and 3, so that's going to be 10. So we're going to be putting Running Interference into Green Goblin's deck. All right, so we are starting the game. We have Green Goblin Mutagen Formula, as you saw earlier with the setup. Got the 2 threat on the main scheme like I was supposed to. We start with 18. Here's the 2 cards I get dealt. There's the Goblin Thrall that's supposed to start in the game. And I have a starting hand of 5. You may be wondering, why is Black Widow 5 on her Alter Ego side? Well, I did decide to put an obligation into her deck so that she could start at full health, which is 11 for her, +2 because of the basic thwart upgrade she gets. And the obligation came out on my opening draw, Martial Law. It reduces my hand size by 1. So when you draw an obligation from the Rise of Red Skull campaign, if you're playing the campaign or if you're doing this mini-series and an obligation comes out during the opening draw, you put it into play. And then, but you continue to draw to your hand size. And then you can mulligan. And if it comes out during your mulligan, you lose a card. But so this came out of my opening hand. So I would normally get to still draw up to 6, but because it happens to be the obligation that reduces my hand size by 1, I only actually got to draw up to 5. And to get rid of it, I had to deal myself an encounter card and spend an energy resource. Well, I've already got 2 here because that's what Green Goblin does. If I did get rid of this now, it'd be 3, and then when I get to the regular encounter card phase, I'd have to deal with 4 on the first turn. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do my mulligan. And I'm not going to put Daredevil in. Widow's Bite would be nice, but I'm probably going to stay as Natasha for the first round at least. So I won't be able to use the Widow's Bite anyway. I'm going to discard that, but I will keep these other 3, and I'll draw back up to 5. All right, under surveillance and energy. Okay, so let's see what I want to do. All right, so I thought about what I want to do, but before I go any further, I forgot to put the attachments on him that he's supposed to have. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on now, and he's going to hit hard on his first attack. 2 plus 4, so at least for 6. So I got to be ready for that when I flip her over, and I probably won't flip her over this turn. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Spycraft in with Black Widow's Gauntlet, and that's going to allow me to draw a card. Okay, Agent Coulson. And then I'm going to use Covert Ops with Energy and Agent Coulson for 3. And that's going to remove 4 threat from a scheme, actually 2 here. And it's going to confuse the villain. And as much as I hate to get rid of Under Surveillance and to get rid of some of these other cards, I think I will just go ahead and get rid of Martial Law. I'd like to get my hand size up. I might as well take the extra encounter card now. Early in the game, so hopefully I have a chance to recover from it later on. He is confused, so deal myself an encounter card and spend an energy resource, which is this, and I can discard Martial Law, and that's going to be it. So we will draw up to 6 and move to the villain turn. Okay, so start of the main villain phase. We put 1 threat up here. As I said, he's confused, so he won't scheme, but the Goblin Thrall will, so it's now at 2 out of 7, and I deal myself an encounter card, so I've got to deal with 4 encounter cards. I do have 1 Spycraft at least, but let's see what happens. Let's hope this isn't too ugly. All right, gang up, so she's an alter ego, so that's going to surge. It will surge into Master Plan, so we don't have a side scheme, so I'll have to discard cards until I get a side scheme. Okay, let's see. We'll do that. Goblin Reinforcements will come in when revealed. Place 1 additional threat here for each Goblin minion in play. So it's going to come in with 3. Let's move these over. It'll come in with 3 threat on it because I do have a Goblin minion in play. All right. And then the next encounter card is going to be Exhaustion. So that's going to exhaust her, and it will surge into another Goblin Thrall. So we got 2 guards in the game now. The next one will be a Goblin Soldier. He'll come in with 5. And then the final one will be Advance. I didn't want to see that this early. So, I don't want it to advance yet because I got a lot of goblins here that will hurt me on the side on scheme 2. So I'm going to cancel that with this Spycraft and replace it with an advance. Now, who knew that the 2 advances were going to be in a row? And there's nothing I can do about that. So he's going to scheme for at least 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's enough to advance this to, when complete, in player order, each player not engaged with a Goblin minion must discard 3 cards from the encounter deck. But I have a Goblin minion. I cannot believe that the 2 advances were right next to each other. That's just my luck. So we come here, Mutagen Cloud, advance just to stage 2B, and it comes in with 4 threat. And if I don't do anything about these Goblin minions, I'm gonna have to put 4 threat here. It'll go up to 8 just at the start of the villain phase. But I did survive that round. I mean, I guess it could have been worse, But now we're going to be back to Natasha. All right, I think the first thing I'm going to do is put in this target acquired with Dance of Death, and that will let me draw a card. All right, safe house. All right, everybody, I've thought about it a lot off camera, what I'm going to do right here on this turn, because I'm in quite a predicament. 3 minions, a side scheme that's going to deal me an extra encounter card, 4 threat. Over here on Mutagen Cloud, I maybe shouldn't have put this into play, because now if I want to put Nick Fury in, I got to get rid of my safe house. But if I want to use my safe house, I really can't use Nick Fury or Covert Ops too well. And I've thought a lot about what to do, and I really feel like the best thing for me to do at this point is to put in Nick Fury with these 4 resources, and when he comes into the game, he'll deal his 4 damage to get rid of one of these Goblin Thralls to at least reduce some damage that'll come in and reduce 1 threat that'll get placed at the beginning of the main phase over here. And when he comes in, he'll come in with 3 hit points, and I'll have him thwart for 2. Off the main scheme is going to drop from 4 down to 2 on the main scheme. And then I will flip to Black Widow here. And so I've got to be able to survive this. I think I got a chance. We'll see. But that's what I'm going to do. I've got to get this charge out of the way at some point. So we're just going to go ahead and do it. And I want to ready her and draw to 5. All right, so the start of the main villain phase, we go from 2 up to, well, let's see, it goes from 2 up to 3, 4, 5. So we would put 5 here because we're going to add 3 for Green Goblin and the 2 minions. So it's at 5, and he's going to attack. Now, I am going to have Black Widow defend this attack because it's going to be overkill. And if I get an assault here with one of my encounter cards, then you know, Nick Fury can block that attack, and that's how I'm going to use this. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad, because it's 3 plus 3 is 6. Of course, 3 boost icons, and there's nothing I can do about it. So the worst case scenario is which I thought would happen. So that's going to be 3, 6, 9 minus 2 is 7. So she's going to go from 11 down to 4. And then obviously she took damage, so I got to place 1 threat on the main scheme, so it's up to 6. At least charge goes out of the game, but this Goblin Glider stays in. And now these 2 got to attack. I'm going to have Black Widow take it to drop her down to 2, because again, if I have to deal myself 2 encounter cards, if one of them is assault or something that attacks, Nick Fury's going to take it. If they're both attacks, I'm going to lose the game right here on turn 2. And if I lose the game right here, I'll just go straight in to game 4, and I'll do game 3 and 4 in this video. But hopefully that's not going to happen, because the first encounter card will be assault. I mean, I should play the lottery or something, because I knew this was going to come, and here it is. But I planned for it. So Nick Fury's going to take it. And the Green Goblin will attack for 3, 4, 5. So he's done. And now I got to pray that this doesn't let him attack. And it's a Goblin Thrall. I'll take it. It's another minion I got to deal with. But Black Widow does survive the turn. She survives it with 2 hit points. But we are back to Black Widow. All right. Well, I'm back to Black Widow. And unfortunately, I do have a concussive blow, 2 of them, that I could play to hit Green Goblin, confuse him. The problem is I got these guards in play, and so I can't attack Green Goblin with either one of those concussive blows, so I'm going to have to use at least one to get one of those thralls. So I'm going to use a concussive blow with Genius and the other concussive blow, I guess, to take out one of these Goblin Thralls, and it would confuse them, but they're done. I'm going to put it in the Spycraft with the other Spycraft. And I mean, I thought about flipping, but if I do, this will go from 6 to 9, and then that's over, because it'll be 9, 10, 11, so I can't flip. I'm going to have to stay at Black Widow even with 2 hit points. The game could be over with right here on this turn. So I'm going to draw to 5 and move on to the next turn. And so it's going to go from 6 up to 9, as I said. All right, so we got 9 out of 11 here on the main scheme. Black Widow's going to defend. He'll attack for 3, 4, 5. 5 minus 2 is 3, and that is it. That is the game. So on round 3, I mean, just a brutal beatdown. Never seen anything like it. I mean, Black Widow Justice is a very powerful deck, but when the cards come out like they did, and that obligation I put in my deck really hurt. I only had a hand card size of 5. Maybe I shouldn't have got rid of it when I did. I got those advances early. I mean, just one of the most brutal games I've ever had. And since that was such a quick game, and it was, I'm going to go ahead and play game 4 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get the thing. I'm going to go ahead and get it out and mark everything that we have. So whenever you finish a game, you add the topmost villain attachment to the encounter and the encounter discard pile to the campaign log for the just played scenario. And none are in the discard pile. Discard cards from the encounter deck until one is discarded. Well, it's pumpkin bombs. It's right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right at the top of it's an attachment right at the top. So it's going to go in. And so we'll put that in the scenario log for game 3. All right, so it's going to be pumpkin bombs. So that means that whichever villain I fight in the next game is going to have Goblin Glider, Charge, and pumpkin bombs on the first attack of the game. And then, and then I lost the game, so my handicap for game 4 will be a handicap of 2. All right, let's see what else. But I do get to upgrade to, after the 3rd scenario, each player may flip their basic condition upgrade to its improved size. And so I'll do that. So I'm going to get my improved thwart upgrade. And then record a handicap to 0 in the campaign log for the next scenario. Well, I won't do that because I lost. And I think that's all I have to do. Let's see. Well, my remaining hit points was 0, so I'm going to have to put another obligation in my deck because there's no way I can start. I mean, I could start off with 2 hit points, I guess. But I'm probably not going to do that. So I'll be putting in another obligation. All right. Well, let me clean this all up and we'll get ready to go into scenario 4. And as you can see, the villains that we can face in scenario 4 are Ultron, Red Skull, or Kang. And I have them right here, Ultron, Red Skull, and Kang. So here's my die. I'll roll it up. And it's going to be 1. That is going to be Ultron. So she will fight Ultron in scenario 4. And here are the modular sets. I'll randomly select one of them. And here are the D10 and the D6. And we have 6 and 1, so that is 7, and there's going to be a mess of things. All right, I'll go grab that modular set. All right, we're set up and ready to go for Ultron, the 4th and final scenario here in the mini-series. And I do have all 3 of these attachments out. He's going to hit hard for at least 6 on the first turn. And then I have to take 2... indirect damage, well, not necessarily the first turn, but on the first attack. So that's going to be rough. And I do have my drone here that I've put in play because of the Crimson Cowl main scheme. And I haven't drawn my open hand because I want you to see what happens if I draw one of those obligations. And by the way, I did shuffle in a second random obligation. I had to, so that I can have hit points, more than just 2 hit points. So I'm at 11. And again, because of my improved thwart upgrade. But the good news is she does get the improved one. So if I can last long enough and remove threat from a scheme, defeat a scheme, a side scheme, I can draw a card. All right, so let's draw her opening hand of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we didn't get an obligation. Good. Now, if I mulligan, if I draw an obligation during the mulligan, that obligation goes into play and I don't get to draw back up to it. back up to my hand size, that is. So, but I didn't draw an obligation here, and I do like a lot of what I see, but I don't know that I really need the stealth strike on my first turn, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I guess I'll go ahead and get rid of the Power of Justice to draw 2 cards. Oh, there we go, Anti-Hero Propaganda. So this is going to go into play, and I don't get to replace that. So I'm going to start the game with just 5 cards in my hand, and this one, if you remember, so now all her stats have -1, and I have to take 2 damage and spend a wild resource, which I don't have, to be able to get rid of this. So I got to remember that she is -1 all stats until I can get rid of that. All right, well, let's go ahead and get the game started, and I think the first thing I'll do is put in her gauntlet with target acquired, and then I'll use her gauntlets to put in Spycraft, which will let her draw a card. All right, Strength. I'm going to put in her grappling hook with Strength. And I will go ahead and flip to Black Widow and attack for 1 because I only have an attack of 1, but that's all I need to get rid of this, which is Jessica Jones. And so then I will ready. And okay, so the start of the main villain phase, we go put 1 threat on the main scheme, and then he's going to attack, and it's going to be a big one. He's going to attack for 3. Let's see. So when he attacks, I actually put the top card in my deck, and I got to remember that. It's been a while since I played Ultron. So he's going to, when Ultron attacks you, put the top card of your deck into play face down. Yeah, it's a drone minion. So he's going to attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So she's going to defend this, but she only has a defense of 1. So 7, just 7, good. So 7 minus 1 is 6. That's going to drop her down to 5. All right, and then she will take the damage from this drone to drop her down to 4. And the good news is I do have a grappling hook. That's why I flipped over to this side, because I knew I had a grappling hook and I would be able to cancel an assault or whatever I need. Oh, actually, so the charge is gone. All right, so the advance came out as the boost for the attack. The charge is gone, but now I got to do the pumpkin bombs. So after the villain attacks, you discard pumpkin bombs and take 2 indirect damage. So I'll do that. So she's actually going to be down to 2. Okay, and so now it's time for the encounter card, which is Caught Off Guard, to discard an upgrade or support I control. Well, I'll just discard the Spycraft. I'm not going to use it. I mean, I could use it, but I'll just discard the Spycraft to deal with that, and I won't use it because I don't want to draw another card. And we will go back to Black Widow. And on Black Widow's turn, I will put in her synth suit over here with energy and concussive blow for 3. I'm going to flip back to Natasha because I can't afford to take any more attacks. But I do have a counterintelligence. I'm going to put that into play with Genius. And that will let me draw a card, which is going to be Widow's Bite. And I will put in Widow's Bite with the Black Widow's Gauntlet. And I think that's it. So I will ready and draw up to 6. Okay, so start of the main villain phase. Put 1 threat up here. It goes to 2 out of 3. He's going to scheme for 2, 3, 4. And I mean, I could prevent that with the counterintelligence, but it would still go off. So I guess I'll just let it go off. So we're already moving into stage 2, and which means I put the top card of my deck into play as a drone. And then we go on to stage 2, and these 2 will scheme. And I'll leave my counterintelligence for now. I'll put 2 on here. All right, and then so he schemed, which moved it. And then they've schemed, so the encounter card will be an advanced drone. So he'll come in with 4, and we are back to Black Widow or Natasha. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is heal for 3, back up to 5. Okay, and then I'm going to put in the safe house over here with Dance of Death. And then I'm going to use the safe house to actually pull out my target acquired that I lost earlier. All right, so there's that. I'm going to put in a Spycraft. Let's see, I'll put it over here. Hopefully I don't forget about it. I'll do it with one of my Black Widow gauntlets. And I haven't drawn the card yet because that's the first preparation card. So I'll draw a card. That's the other target acquired. I'm going to put in Quake right here, I guess, with Dance of Death and the other target acquired and one of the target acquireds. And so she'll come in with 2 hit points. And I'm going to have her attack for 1 to get rid of this drone here. And I think I'll put in a copy of target acquired with this other grappling hook because I can always use Safe House to get this back out if I want to. And I can't use it anyway because I am going to stay as Natasha for another turn. And I will ready and draw back up to 6. Okay, so start of the main phase. I could use counterintelligence to prevent the one threat from going on here, and then that would mean if I did that, I would not have to do the forced response. But I think I'll go ahead and do the forced response. So we go from 2 to 3, and I'm going to put on 2 threats. So it's going to go from 5. So it started with 2, 1 because it's normal, and I'm going to put 2 threats instead of putting a drone into play. So it goes up to 5. And Ultron will scheme for 2, 3, and then there's a boost. Ultron heals 1 damage for each drone minion engaged with you, but he's at full health. So he's supposed to put 3 on here, but I'm going to use counterintelligence to prevent all 3 of that, so no more threat will go on. This drone will scheme for 1, so it goes up to 6. I'll use Quake to defeat him because that's her ability, that she can deal 2 damage after a minion schemes. So this one is out of the way. And then this drone will scheme. So it's going to go up to 7 out of 10. And, but we're good so far for now. So this encounter card will be advance. Okay, I don't want it to advance because I'll lose. So I'm going to use Spycraft to cancel that. And the replacement will be Exhaustion. So that's going to exhaust Natasha, and it will surge into program transmitter attached to Ultron. And then after Ultron schemes, place 1 threat on each side scheme. Okay, so she survived it, although she is exhausted, and we are back to Natasha. And the first thing I'm going to do is use the Safe House to pull out Spycraft because I already have 1 grappling hook, so I can cancel Treachery, and this will let me cancel anything. I think I'll do that. I'll bring out the Spycraft, and then I'll put it in with the Black Widow's Gauntlet up here again, and that's going to let me draw a card. All right, so we got a Under Surveillance. I'm going to take 2 damage and spend a wild resource to get rid of this anti-hero propaganda. So she's going to go from 5 to 3. And I'm going to use Winter Soldier, unfortunately, for that wild resource. And that's going to let me discard it. So we'll go back into my deck. And then I'm going to put in Nick Fury with Counterintelligence, Covert Ops, Under Surveillance, and Espionage. And so those 4 resources. When he comes in, I'm going to... actually, before he comes in, I'm going to flip to Black Widow. So now I'm going to put him in with those 4 resources. When he comes in, I'm going to have him deal the 4 damage to this advanced Ultron drone to knock him out of the game. And of course, when you defeat the Ultron drone, the engaged player puts the top card of their deck into play face down engaged with the drone as a drone minion. But I'm going to use Widow's Bite to deal that 2 damage to the minion and stun it. So the minion is going to leave play. And then after you trigger a preparation card, you get to deal a damage to somebody. So I'm going to deal the damage to Ultron. So that's going to drop him down to 21. And then I did trigger a preparation card. I triggered the Widow's Bite. So I'm going to exhaust my Scent Suit to ready Black Widow. And by the way, Nick Fury comes in with 3 hit points. He's going to thwart for 2. She's going to thwart for 3 for a total of 5 to drop that off. And yes, she does have 3 now because I took propaganda out, and I took out anti-hero propaganda, and the improved thwart gifts are a +1, so 3 + 2, 5. So now we're back down to 2 on the main scheme, and that's all I can do. I'll hold on to under surveillance, and then I'll ready and draw up to 5. All right, so the start of the main phase. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put 1 threat in, and then I'm gonna put the other 2 in instead of a drone. So it's gonna go from 2 back up to 5, and that's okay because I do have a grappling hook that I can cancel with. So Ultron's he's going to attack, so that puts a drone into play, and he'll attack for 3, 4, and well, Nick Fury's going to take it, but at least 4, 5. So that's going to knock Nick Fury out of the game. And then this one will attack, and I will have Quake take that. So no, I won't. I'm not going to have Quake take that. I'll just have Black Widow take it. So she'll go from 3 back down to 2. And then the encounter card will be Rage of Ultron. So Ultron attacks you, discard the top card of your deck for each damage dealt by this. No, I don't want that to happen. I'm going to use... I could have Quake actually defend this. And there is a chance I would discard my other obligation. So I think I will. So he's going to attack. It's going to put another drone into play, though. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And you are stunned. No, I'm not. I'm going to use target acquired to cancel this boost card. And I'm going to use the 1 damage from her to hit with this drone. And there is it was a drone. The martial law obligation was a drone, so that's good. It won't be drawn and put into play. But so it's going to be an attack that's enough to defeat Quake, and that was the encounter card. So let's see, how much damage did it do? So you have to discard top card of your deck for each damage dealt by this attack. It was 2, 3, 4. He did get the +1 attack, even though the drone was left, so I think that's right. So 2, 3, 4, 5. -1 is 4, so I get to discard 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will mean I get dealt another card. So let me go ahead and shuffle my deck, and then we'll have to deal with this now. So let me shuffle my deck. All right, so I reshuffled my deck, and by the way, you may be wondering why did I count that drone that she took out with the Widow's Bite? Why did I count that as part of the damage? Well, it's because it says that the Force Interrupt, when Ultron attacks you, put the top card of your deck into play face down. And so I had to do that because it was an attack, and that had 2 drones. And then it says until the end of this attack, he gets +1 attack for each drone. So the way I understand that is, even though Widow's Bite took that drone out, he already got the +1 attack, and he gets it until the end of the attack. So that's why it was 2, 3, 4, 5 minus the 1 from Quake, which was 4. And then you had to discard cards from the top of the deck for each damage dealt by the attack, which is, 4, even though it was only 1 damage dealt to her, it has been clarified that actually 4 cards in that case. It was 4 damage dealt. 5 minus 1 is 4. So that's why I discarded 4 cards. I think I did that all right. If not, it was something that I think works against me anyway, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. So anyway, let's move on. I do have to deal with this encounter card because it got dealt out during the encounter phase when my deck ran out, and it is reshuffled, by the way. So here, this encounter card is going to be a Drone Factory. When revealed, each player puts the top card of their deck into play face down, engaging with them as a drone minion. Nope, I don't want that to happen. I'm going to Spycraft that and have the 1 damage from her deal that to this drone, and it's going to knock it out. And so we got to replace that Drone Factory with a Treachery. Each player puts the top card of their deck into play face down, engage with them as a drone minion. I could cancel that with the grappling hook, but there are worse fates, I think, than a drone minion coming out right now, and he's still on side 2. So I will put the drone minion out, and we are back to Black Widow. And before we go any further, I just realized I could have defended with Black Widow and saved Quake, and actually would have been able to stand her back up because the boost, the card that he got was a boost icon that I used to target acquired to cancel. So she would be ready anyway, but oh well, it is what it is. I'm not real worried about it. We're at Black Widow, and the first thing I'm going to do is put in her other Black Widow's gauntlet with Agent Coulson. And then I'm going to flip to Natasha and heal for 3. So that's going to go from 2 up to 5. And then I'm going to put in Spycraft over here with one of her gauntlets, which will let her draw a card. All right, Covert Ops. And then I'm going to use Safe House to pull out, I guess, a target acquired. And because I'm going to be using Covert Ops with these 3 resources here to remove 4 threat from a scheme, drop it from 5 back down to 1, and to confuse Ultron. Okay, and that's going to be it for her turn, so I will ready and draw up to 6. Okay, so start of the main phase, we put 1 threat here, we'll put 1 here, and this time I'm going to put a drone into play for that. He's supposed to scheme, but he's confused, so he won't. But these 2 will scheme, so it's going to go from 2 up to 4. Okay, and then the encounter card will be upgraded drone. Do I want them to be upgraded? Do I want them to have an extra attack and an extra hit point? You know, I think I'd rather... An advance isn't going to hurt me too bad right now. I am going to cancel that with my Spycraft. I don't want them to be upgraded, I don't think. So the card that replaces it will be a Mess of Things. So when revealed, place 2 additional threat here for each stunned friendly character. All right, so we got a side scheme. And it will come in. No one is stunned, so it's just going to come in with 2 threat. And we are back to Natasha. And the first thing I want to do before I forget is to heal her for 3. So she'll go from 5 up to 8. And then I'm going to put in Attack Acrobatics over here with one of her Black Widow's gauntlet. That's going to let her draw a card. All right, Nick Fury. And then I'm going to use the Safe House to pull out a Spycraft. And then now that I got Nick Fury, I'm going to put him into play. I'll put him in over here with 2 for energy, 1 with the target acquired, and 1 with, I guess, a Spycraft. No, I'm going to use another target acquired. So these 4 resources, and he'll come in with 3 hit points. I'm going to let him draw me 3 cards. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then I'm going to put in a Spycraft back up here with a Black Widow's gauntlet. I'm going to go ahead and flip her over to Black Widow. And let's see, I am going to be putting in Winter Soldier. And I have 1, 2, 3 preparation cards in. I think that's it. So he will come in. I'll put him in up here. And he'll come in with Jessica Jones and 4 hit points. And then I'm going to do Dance of Death with 2, 3 hit point, or 2, 3 resources. So I'm going to deal 1 damage to this drone, and then 5 damage to Ultron, dropping him from 21 to 16. I'm going to have Winter Soldier attack for 2 to get rid of this other drone. And then I will have, oh, there's a martial law. It's back. It got shuffled back in, but it got discarded. So it was a drone again. That's good. And then Nick Fury is going to thwart for 2 to get rid of this side scheme. And unfortunately, I don't get to draw a card because I didn't defeat it. Nick Fury did, but that's fine. So we will ready and draw up to 5. Okay, so start of the main phase. We'll put 1 here, and I think I will put, let's see, 4, 5, it will go up to 7. So I'll do that. I'm gonna go from 4 and add the 2 because I don't want a drone to come in. So I'm gonna go up to 7. So we will go 7 out of 10 because I do have a grappling hook to cancel any advance that comes out. So we're good there. So it's 7 out of 10. And then Nick Fury's going to take the attack. It's going to be 3. Oh, I got to put a drone into play because of his force response. So it's 4, just 4. And that's going to be enough to get rid of Nick Fury. I don't know how many times I've missed that. I don't think I have missed it. If I have, I'm sorry. I'm trying to film. I'm still trying to deal with a bunch of different things. I hope I didn't mess that too much. But I got it right that time. It is 1 damage. I'm going to put it on Black Widow, dropping her from 8 to 7. And then the encounter card will be Repair Sequence. Ultron heals 2 damage for each drone minion engaged with you. If no damage was healed this way, this card gains Surge. So he would heal 2. And I could prevent that. Let's prevent it with a Spycraft. So, because I don't want him to heal. So we'll prevent it with a Spycraft, and we'll deal the damage from her ability to him. No, I won't. It's going to go back up to 16. We'll deal the damage to this drone. Drop that drone down here. So we got to replace the repair sequence with an advanced drone. Oh, I should have saved my Spycraft for that, because that's one of the reasons why I like Spycraft, is to get guards out of the way. But oh well. So he'll come in, and actually, no, I don't have a Widow's Bite, so he'll just come in with 4, and we are back to Black Widow. All right, and so back to Black Widow. I have forgotten to ready my gauntlets, but they're ready now because I'm about to use them, and I'm going to use both of them to put in the 2 Widow's Bites that I have here. All right, and then I'm going to use, I'm going to put in Espionage with the Power of Justice. And then I'm going to have Black Widow attack for 2 and Winter Soldier attack for 2 for a total of 4 to get rid of this drone. And when you defeat a drone, a 1 comes in, but I'm going to use a Widow's Bite to hit this drone and defeat it immediately. And good, there's my other obligation, so I don't have to worry about that. So after she uses her preparation card, she gets to deal the damage, and I will deal it to Ultron, dropping him down to 15. And I did use a preparation card, so I'll use Synth Suit to ready Black Widow, and I will have her thwart for 2 on the main scheme. Hold on to Strength, and that's going to be it. I'll ready and draw up to 5. All right, start of the main phase. I'm going to put 3 threat on here so I don't have to put a drone into play. So we're at 8 out of 10. He's going to attack for at least 3, but Black Widow is going to defend that. So it's going to be 3. Oh, I got to put a drone in. I keep forgetting. Actually, when that drone comes in, I'll use a Widow's Bite to knock it right back out of the game. And then I'll deal the 1 damage to Ultron, so we'll go down to 14. And so when I want to defend, it's going to be 3, 4 damage. Okay, let's see. I'll go ahead and use Attack Acrobatics to cancel that. So we're going to cancel this boost icon. So that's going to drop him to 13. And then the extra damage from her will drop him down to 12. And then, of course, I used a preparation card, so I'll exhaust Synth Suit to ready her. And then the encounter card will be Burn Notice. So I will flip to Natasha and exhaust to remove that from the game. And we are back to Black Widow, or actually Natasha. All right, I think the first thing I'm going to do is use my Safe House to bring Attack Acrobatics into the game. And I will use a Gauntlet to put that into play, which will allow her to draw a card. All right, Stealth Strike. Okay, and then I'm going to flip back to Black Widow. And I'm going to, the first thing I want to do is get rid of this Goblin Glider, spend 2 energy resources, discard it. I'm going to use a Power of Justice and Counterintelligence for the 2 energy resources to get rid of that so he doesn't get that +1 damage anymore. And then Winter Soldier is going to thwart for 2. Dropping from 8 down to 6. And then I will, I'm going to do a Dance of Death with Strength and Stealth Strike for 2, 3. And I'm going to hit Ultron for 6, dropping him from 12 down to 6. And let's see, I think that's all I can do. I'm going to hold on to Concussive Blow, ready Black Widow, and draw up to 5. Okay, so start of the main villain phase. 1 threat here, bringing it up to 7. And this time I will put a drone into play, which actually means I'm going to have to deal myself an encounter card. And let me reshuffle my deck. Okay, so that was the forced response. I did reshuffle the deck. And now he's going to attack, which puts another drone into play. But she's going to defend this. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will use Attack Acrobatics to cancel that boost icon. So we'll knock it back into his face, dropping it from 6 to 5. And then the damage from her ability will go to knock out one of these drones. Okay. So let's see, it was 2, 3. Well, actually, it was 4 to 3. So she'll take a damage down from 7 to 6 because I canceled that boost icon. So 4 to 3, she takes damage. But I did use Attack Acrobatics. So that's going to ready her. And because I'll exhaust my synth suit to ready her. She'll take a damage from that drone, dropping her from 6 to 5. And then I got to deal a second encounter card. And the first one is going to be Android Efficiency. Each player puts the top card of the deck into play face down, engaging them as a drone minion. For now, I'll let that go because I don't know what this is. Because if it's an advance, it would go to stage 3 and I don't want it to. So I'll just put the drone in, and unfortunately I don't have any Widow's Bite. But anyway, this one is Ultron's Imperative. So nothing I can do about that. Oh yeah, no, nothing I can do about that. It's going to come into play with 2 threat, and then I have to put the top 2 cards of my deck into play face down as drone minions. So all of a sudden I've got 4 minions here that I have to deal with. And with Ultron's Imperative, you know, even if I go drop him down to 0, this would still, I think, technically get revealed. I have to put 2 more out. So I need to deal with all this before I can move him over to his side 3. But we are back to Black Widow. All right, I'm going to put in Daredevil with the 4 resources that I have. He'll come in with 3, and I'm going to have him thwart for 2 to get rid of this side scheme so they don't have to draw an extra card. And then the damage he deals will get rid of this drone here. I'll have Black Widow. Let's see. She will attack for 2 to get rid of a drone. Winter Soldier will attack for 2 to get rid of a drone. That's going to remove him from the game. And we got 1 drone left. Nothing I can do about it. But she still has 5 hit points. Maybe that'll be enough. We will ready and draw. I'll just move this over here, and I'll draw to 5. Okay, so start of the main villain phase. This goes from 5 to 8. And I am going to put in a drone over here. So we're going to do that. And then he's going to attack. So that's going to put in another drone, and it's going to be at least 5 damage. And if he draws 3 boost cards, it'll be 8. -2 or -3 would be 5. It would kill her. So I hate to do it, but Daredevil's going to have to take this. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so he takes all 7 of that damage, but at least she doesn't have to. And but she will have to take the damage from this. I'll just have to take it so that she can defend if she needs to. So it's going to drop her from 5 down to 2. And the encounter card will be Tail Swipe. Scorpion attacks your hero. If no attack was made this way, you're stunned. I don't want to be stunned. So I'm actually going to cancel that treachery with my grappling hook. And the damage that she deals will go here to knock out this drone, and we are back to Black Widow. Okay, so back to Black Widow, and the first thing I'm going to do is a Dance of Death with Energy and Spycraft for 3. So with one attack, it's going to take this drone out. 2 damage to the attack of 2 will take this drone out, and then 3 for Ultron, dropping him down from 5 to 2. All right, and that's it for Dance of Death. And then I'm going to thwart for 3 with Black Widow to remove that off the scheme. I'm going to flip her to Natasha, and I'm going to use Safe House to pull out Spycraft. Okay, and then use the 2 Black Widow's gauntlets that I have to put in the grappling hook, which will let her draw a card. Up anti-hero propaganda, so that's going to go into play over here. So I have -1 to all my stats. Have to take 2 damage and spend a wild resource to get rid of that. All right, and I'll put in a Spycraft with Agent Coulson. That'll be it already. And draw to 6. Okay, so start of the main phase. I'm going to put 1 threat here, and I'll put a drone in for that, so I don't have to put any more threat on the scheme. He'll scheme for at least 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh man, and there's nothing I can do about that. So that was a mistake there. I flipped because she only had 2 health left. But I can't Spycraft a boost, and I can't do anything to that. So it was 3, and 3 is 6. That's going to be 11. That's going to advance the main scheme. That's going to put a drone into play. And it's going to flip. And now, these 2 drones will scheme, bringing it up to 2 out of 5. And the encounter card will be an Invasive AI. Each player discards the top 3 cards of their deck. And I could Spycraft that, but I don't want an advance to come out. So that's going to come in with 3. And I'll discard the top 3 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3. All right, and we are back to Natasha. The first thing I'm going to do is heal her for 3. From 2, back up to 5. I'm going to use Safe House to pull out a Widow's Bite. That's right here on top. And I'm going to put in the Widow's Bite and my Attack Acrobatics with my Widow's Gauntlet. And that will let me draw a card. So I'll draw a card. And then I'm going to flip a Black Widow and use Covert Ops with Stealth Strike and the 2 Counterintelligence, I guess. That's going to remove 4 threat from a scheme, which will be this side scheme. And confuse the villain, which will confuse Ultron. I can't do anything with those 2 cards. In fact, I don't even know if I should keep Covert Ops because I can't take threat off of that scheme. But I don't want to... No, I'm not, because I only got 4 cards left and I don't want to deal with 2 encounter cards. So, that's going to be it. I'm going to ready and draw to 5. Okay, so we got 1 threat here on the main scheme. It's up to 3 out of 5. And then he will attack. She'll have to defend. She will defend for only 2 though because of this anti-hero propaganda. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4. I'll use an Attack Acrobatics to put it back into his face, which will actually drop him to 0. Alright, so that means he's going to advance to stage 3. He'll come back in with 27 hit points. And Ultron's Imperative will come out. I think the game's going to be over here. But let's just go ahead and play it out. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have used my Attack Acrobatics, but I don't think it was going to win anyway at this point. Let's find Ultron's Imperative. Okay, here it is. That puts 2 drones into play. So there's, oops, can't look at it. There's 1, dealing a counter card. I'll just shuffle my deck real quick, because it is over. So there's another drone. So we got 4 drones. That's supposed to have 2. But So let's see. I canceled it. She has 2 defense. So it was 2. Oh, but it was a lot. It was 2, 3, 4. Minus 2. I think that is 2. It goes down to 3. The 1 damage doesn't matter. I'll just put it on this drone because now they have 2 health. And then they'll all attack is going to be for 8. And that's going to defeat her. And that's going to be it. Well, that's the end of the mini-series. So we look, and so I lose that game. So I lost 3 games. And I guess how you score the mini-series is there is no handicap to go into scenario 5. So this scenario 1 is 0. Scenario 2 would be 1 if I'd have lost that. This would be 2 if I would have lost that and scenario 2. And this would be 3, handicap at 3 if I'd have lost these 2. So that means the total handicap would have been 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 is 6. And I have a handicap of actually 3. But I lost 3 of the 4 games. So my score's terrible. That's what I'm trying to say. I scored like a 3 or worse. And it was rough. I mean, having those attachments that come out early like they do and having to deal with that. And then I had 2 obligation cards I had to deal with because of previous games. It's rough. But that is the Marvel Champions Mini-Series. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell because I will have more games coming out and more playthroughs. And until they come out, I'll save you a seat at the table. Thank you for watching.